Oh, wait.
Nous nous aimions bien tendrement, comme s'aiment tous les amants. Et puis un jour, tu m'as quitté, depuis je suis désespérée.
Good morrow, everybody. My name is Robin, also known as Sunny Side Up Gal, and you are my Sunny Side Up pal. Hi, welcome to the channel. Hi, how are you? If you are new here, if this is your first time watching me, or if maybe the second time you found me in another video and you're like, let's check out what her other stuff is. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and give me a subscribe and go ahead and like this video because I'm pretty sure you're gonna like the video. And if you are not new here and you're a returning subscriber, or this is like your third video, holy shnikes. Thank you so much for coming back to watch my video and listen, or just listen to my voice. I don't think I have an amazing talking voice, so you must like what you're hearing, what I talk about. And what am I going to talk about today? Today, we're going to touch base on a particular creator on Instagram / the internet in general, because she does have or they do have a like a website, and that person is the Fierce Fatty. So I've done a video on the Fierce Fatty before, but it was mostly on their reels. I think she has a lot of interesting things to say in a bad way. She is a fat liberationist and a fat activist, and I find some of the things that she is saying harmful to Gen Pop. Also, this is going to be a quick upload, like a ghost and post. I'm not going to do a ton of edits on this because I want to give you content for this week to listen to. I'm working on a larger video that I am trying to post by the end of the week. We will see. But let's go ahead and get started on the Fierce Fatty because that's what you're here for. All right. So Fierce Fatty, this person's name is Vinnie Wellsby. She is from the UK. And I'm going to try my hardest to respect her pronouns, their pronouns. It's hard. I will do my best. They, Vinnie is a they, them, Vinnie, Fierce Fatty, they, them. All right, Vinnie. Okay, what I really wanted to, so when I was doing my video from before, and I'll try to link it if I remember. I might not link it the first couple hours because I won't remember until after I watch this again. But when I did their first video, I saw this infographic, this wordy posty photo carousel, and was intrigued, and I really wanted to stop and collaborate and listen.
I sit back with my brand new invention.
I wanted to stop and read it, but I was like on a roll. Oh, sorry. Okay, so to touch base again, Fierce Fatty is a consultant kind of. They go to they've done like TED Talks. They go to like places of business and try to educate employers about being fat positive in the workspace and making the workspace more accessible and fat approachable. Is that the right word? They're spreading awareness about medical fat bias and fat bias and fat discrimination in the workplace. But I think a lot of it is made up. I mean, anything happens, but it's not as prevalent as some of these fat liberationists are making it seem. Okay, so I saw this the other time that I was doing an episode on her, the truth about weight loss surgery. Does it really make you thin and healthy? So the argument for a lot of people who talk about weight loss surgery in a negative way, they have to pair thin and healthy together, because clearly weight loss surgery, for most people who don't eat through it, it does make you thin. They want to pair thin and healthy together because they want to add a second layer of like fear to getting the surgery. Like, yeah, you'll be thin, but are you going to be healthy? You know what I mean? TW mentions of shmishma, depression, poor outcomes of surgery in young people. All right, so let's read this. In part, we explore the big questions. Does weight loss surgery actually make you thin and healthy? It does make you thin. It can make you healthy if you do it correctly. if you are eating and getting adequate nutrition and you're not eating through the surgery and you're not just like eating junk like a lot of people. What are the real side effects? Are they worth it? We break down the different types of surgeries, their outcomes and complications, and the broader realities fat people face, mentions of specific surgeries, medical outcomes, side effects, and general awful stuff that fat people endure. In part two, oh, so this is just part one. In part two, we continue, the conversation with an even deeper look at the aftermath. We discuss how much weight people typically lose, the mental health outcomes, bigger trigger warning here, surgery in childs, and what information consent should really mean in this context. Oh, what informed consent should really mean in this context. So, what weight loss surgery actually does? Weight loss surgeries work by disrupting healthy organ function, restriction, malabsorption, or both. By disrupting healthy organ function. Oh, through restriction, malabsorption, or both. They create new health risks, and outcomes are highly unpredictable. We can't reliably know who will be harmed from surgery. Surgeries are framed as treatments for conditions that also affect thin people, yet only fat people are pressured to undergo them. No, the reason why you would go on a weight loss surgery is because you're hella fat.
Hella facts! Hella facts!
Thin people don't need to go through weight loss surgery because they're hella fat. Now, you may have, what is the word? Comorbidities. That feels wrong still. To that go hand in hand with obesity. So like diabetes, heart disease, there's more, insulin resistance. There's a lot of extra stuff. But if you are literally eating yourself to death and weight loss surgery is your last resort, that's it. Just surgeries are framed as treatments for conditions that also affect thin people. That's not the nobody's getting surgery. Nobody's getting weight loss surgery because they are diabetic. They're getting weight loss surgery because they cannot get out of bed. They're like it's I feel like weight loss surgery is such a last resort for so many people who do get it because they can't move anymore. They can't move anymore. Yeah, it's like their body is literally at the point where just existing is harmful for themselves. Surgeries can cost $15,000 to $35,000 plus the cost of revisions and then plastic surgery after. 77.3% of Medicare costs for gastric banding were reoperations. That's crazy though. That is expensive. I have known people whose weight loss surgery was covered by their insurance. All right, how much weight do people really lose? Initial weight loss is common, but 46% regain significant weight within 2 years. That is because they don't get like therapy with their surgery, which I feel like it should be mandatory that you get. Well, first of all, I don't think we should mandatorize therapy on people. That feels very too controlling government-wise. However, I feel like it should be encouraged that you get therapy when you get this surgery, because a lot of the times what has caused these people to get to a point where surgery, which is a very last resort in my opinion because you're literally cutting out a piece of your stomach, you should get therapy with the surgery, because the reason why you are so big is because something disconnected to and something has happened to you and you're eating yourself to death. You are yourself with food. So the reason why people regain a significant weight within 2 years is because they're eating through the surgery. They haven't learned or done any work to stop the negative eating habits. They're just relying on this restriction on their stomach, and you can always re-stretch your stomach out or even bust open the surgery. You can eat through a lap band. I've known somebody who's eaten through a lap band. I've known quite a bit of people, and even on the internet, you can see quite a bit of people know how to eat through the surgery, like timing and just like eat through the pain of having such a small stomach. You know what I mean? All right, 78.7 of patients regained weight after 3 years. Again, they're eating through, they're not eating the right foods. They're literally just relying on the surgery, and you have to like change your life with it. 63 regained by 4 years. Only 40% maintained at least a 30% weight loss after 12 years. I feel like that's still better though. I feel like so regain is common for I think a lot of people who are on a weight loss journey, regardless of what you did to lose the weight. I feel like a lot of people, regardless of what, like, regardless of how you've lost the weight, a lot of people will gain some weight back. This is a really weird statistic page that she's got going on because it doesn't say it does not explain what significant weight is. Significant weight can be 20 pounds, which is not comparable to losing to the amount that they usually lose, which is like 300 pounds. You know what I mean? Only 40% maintained at least a 30% weight loss after 12 years. It does happen. People do regain the weight. It's because they're not being taught proper nutrition. They're not getting therapy for their eating habits, like their fringe beating habits, and they're eating through the surgery. So, major side effects across various surgeries. Side effects are numerous and can include, I want to read it in a British accent because that's what Fierce Fatty, their voices, a British accent, but I will not, to respect my beautiful British babies. Malnutrition, reflux, chronic pain, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation cycles, bone loss, hair loss, neurological issues, low immunity, organ damage, and more. Dumping syndrome affects up to 85%, vomiting, 64% still vomiting 5 to 9 years out. That's because they're eating so much through the surgery. Like the only people that I've known that vomit after eating, it's because they've overate. Because your stomach can only hold so much, right? Dumping syndrome, I think dumping syndrome, let me look it up. I think dumping syndrome is like when you eat after a fast and then your body moves to, like, your food goes through you too quickly and then you shit your pants. But let's see. Okay, dumping syndrome or rapid gastric emptying occurs when food, especially sugary food, moves too quickly from the stomach to the small intestine, causing symptoms like cramps, nausea, diarrhea, early dumping 10 to 30 minutes after eating, or weakness, sweating, confusion, late dumping 1 to 3 hours after eating due to blood sugar changes. So you know what's so funny? I had a grandmother who, well, it was like a step grandma. She's no longer a part of our family. My grandma had she invented this word, this phrase in our family, so we say it all the time now, but like she called them sugar dumps because anytime that she would eat a lot of sugar, she would like shit her britches. So, and I'm sure if you're watching, you've probably had the same thing where you've had something like super sugary and you're like, I've got to shit. So it's called a sugar dump, but also dumping syndrome. For the vast majority of patients today, there is no operation that will control weight to a normal level. That seems like a really obnoxiously incorrect statement. I've seen so many people who I've seen more people that I've seen with the weight loss surgery have gotten to a normal level. And if they're not normal, it's because their skin weighs a lot and they can't afford the skin surgery. Am I wrong in that statement? This feels like very, very black and white. So for the vast majority of patients today, there is no operation that will control weight to a normal level without introducing, without it, I need to finish sentences, without introducing without introducing and risks and side effects that over a lifetime may raise questions about its use for surgical treatment of obesity. That was by Dr. Edward Mason, obesity surgeon. Oh, they're not even spelling obesity. That is so stupid. I forgot that a lot of fat activists think that obesity is a slur. Obesity surgeon, International Bariatric Surgery Registry. Newsletter, fall 1999. Let's put a pin in this because I need to look up Mr. Edward Mason. Okay, so I needed to know who this Edward E. Mason guy was. Apparently, he's like the father of obesity surgery. Let's read. So this is on Wikipedia. Edward Eaton, Eaton, like eating food, was an American surgeon, professor, and medical researcher who specialized in obesity surgery. He is known for developing restrictive gastric surgery for morbidly obese patients. Mason introduced the first gastric bypass surgery in 1966 and was the inventor of the first vertical banded gastroplasty surgery in 1980. He was the founder of the American Society for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery and was its first patient. Ooh. Mason also founded the International Bariatric Surgery Registry and served as its director. In addition, he was the author of more than 200 research papers and book chapters and has published 5 books, including Computer Applications in Medicine, A Fat Chance. Okay, so apparently he was born in a taxi cab. I wanted to see if he had changed any of... so he made that statement in 1999, but he continued to it doesn't appear, and you can check his, his Wikipedia. I was gonna say his Instagram. You can check his Wikipedia. It doesn't appear to have changed his work. Like he still was studying and trying to like improve gastric bypass surgery. Let's see here. Obesity surgery controversy. Controversy. Initially, the insurance companies did not consider obesity a disease and would not pay for obesity surgery. However, according to Mason, extreme obesity was and will be one of the biggest problems to solve. It can result in several chronic medical conditions, including heart disease, hypertension, stroke, diabetes, arthritis, gallbladder disease, sleep apnea, cancer, and others. Psychosocial and socioeconomic impairment. True dat also occurs with morbid obesity. Eventually, in many states, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services began to pay for bariatric surgeries to treat obesity, though determining the appropriate patients for surgery by categorizing the criticality. Wow, I said that right the first time. Of obesity was mandatory. Morbidly obese patients were defined as having a body mass index of exceeding 40. Less severely obese persons, BMI of 35 to 40, would be considered for surgery if they had high risk comorbidities such as type 2 diabetes or heart disease. The crucial aspect of Mason's research was to deal with the complications followed by weight loss surgeries. He treated some of these patients with severe protein malnutrition from intestinal or jejunal ileal bypass with central venous feedings containing amino acids, glucose, and the required vitamins and minerals. He performed surgical reversal of the intestinal bypass back to normal anatomy when necessary. So he reversed the gastric bypass surgeries. At times, he did concomitant conversions to stomach restriction operations. I'm sorry, I don't know how to read, you guys. All right, so she basically quoted the grandpa, the fucking daddy of gastric bypass surgery, thinking that that was doing something, but that was a statement from 1999, and homie was still like working at it until he died. So seems like, yeah, sure, it raised a bunch of questions, but he also seemed like a huge proponent of the work. And it seems, from what I'm getting from the Wikipedia, even though we all know that Wikipedia is kind of like, is it a good source? It seems like he really did care about the health of patients. Okay, have they cured fatness? This is about Ozempic, Wegovy, GLP-1s 4 years on. Have they cured fatness? Wegovy, often called Ozempic, a GLP-1 agonist, was FDA approved in June 2021. 4 years into the GLP-1 frenzy, there should be solid data on its effectiveness and lives saved, given the headlines about this game-changing drug. Let's take a look. TW, mentions of weight numbers and schmishmortar schmeeting. How much weight do people lose? I swear to God, I have dyslexia, y'all. I'm just not diagnosed because mommy doesn't want to miss work and go to the doctor, and I also don't. What's it gonna do for me? What's it gonna do? I'm not in school. I don't need fancy colored paper, right? You just have to deal with me reading and saying nope a lot. Okay. How much weight do people lose? Several GLP-1 drugs are used for weight loss, but Wegovy is touted as the most revolutionary. Here are the game-changing numbers. Longest study, 220 weeks, 4 years, 2 months. Average weight loss, 10.2% over that time for a 200-pound person. That is 20 pounds in 4 years, with about 5 pounds a year or 0.4 pounds a month. Dropout rate, a massive 89 of 8,794 participants, only 118 finished. Red flags, weight loss plateaus at week 65 for those who tolerate the drug. No data from dropouts, likely due to side effects, weight regain. So even the 10.2% may be overstated. Every author had financial ties to Novo Nordisk, and many peer reviewers were also connected to the company. So I love that when you are looking at like medical journals, or you're looking at like any kind of like medical study, it's important to make sure you see who's writing the study or who's funding it, because they have to tell you like if there's any, what's the word I'm looking for, conflict of interest. Like there was a study a bit ago. I'm trying to think. It was a study. Let me just throw a rough scenario out there. It was a study about something for heart disease, like taking statins for heart disease. And then a lot of the people who did the study were like being funded or being like affiliated with statin like pharmaceutical companies. So there's a conflict of interest. Obviously, if you're being funded by a specific um, pharmaceutical or a specific, association like the ADA or something like that, your study could not saying they all do, but your study could possibly come out biased in their favor because they're giving you money. It happens. Also the whole so clearly Fierce Fatty is saying like GLP-1s are baloney. This study, people dropped out. A lot of people dropped out. So the reason why a lot of people drop out, from what I've seen, this is my opinion, is because they get the shits, they get sick. It makes you feel like crap. And I also see that they eat like they don't change any part of their diet. Like diet is so important. I know it's cool this weight loss shot can help you lose weight, but it's almost like pointless for you to take this shot if it's not going to help you change your diet and eat properly. Because I know they say it's like a shot that you need to take for the rest of your life, but shit happens and you might not be able to afford that anymore. What if you lose your insurance? Then you're just going to stop taking the shot and then get fat again. Like, no, you should use it as a tool to help you eat in a specific way. So if whatever you're eating with the shot is making you feel sick, maybe work and see if there's something that you can do to make you not feel sick on the shot. However, I have a feeling people just get sick all the time on it. I'm not sure. If you are on like a GLP-1 shot, is there specific foods that are easier to eat with the shot that don't make you feel as sick? So I'm on metformin because I am insulin resistant and I have insulin resistant PCOS. So that has helped a ton. If I was taking the like extended release so I can fast with it, but because I've been fasting regularly, I don't have to take as much of the medication. And then also one of my prescriptions ran out, so I have to like resort back to like the instant release. If I take the instant release on an empty stomach, I will get sick. I've noticed that when I take it with carbohydrates, it's a little bit better. But then when I take it with carbohydrates, I poop my pants. I don't really poop my pants, but diarrhea. I don't get as bad like gastrointestinal side effects with my metformin, my diabetic medication, if I have it with like a good healthy carb, not like a white carb or sugar or anything like that, like broccoli, greens, a salad, and then especially if no problems if I take it with a protein. But I have to have more I've had to figure out what's going to make me feel good on this medication so I can keep taking it. So I wonder if people have had to figure out stuff like that with a GLP-1 medication. Hang on, only 10.2% weight loss, but my feed is full of before and afters, celeb stories, and my friends on it, and it's working. As with most weight loss attempts, we mainly see the successes. You won't often see posts from those who it didn't work for or from people who regain weight after an initial drop. Many feel shame and blame themselves. Weight loss is usually bigger at first, then plateaus. So your friend may look smaller now, but that's the only part of the story. Like within a year or two, they'll be back on their original weight. So yeah, weight loss. They may not be back to their original weight, but weight loss and weight gain happens. Weight regain can happen if you haven't changed your lifestyles, but also plateaus happen. When you get to a plateau, you have to reevaluate, your calories or your carbs or add movement. Is your friend doing that? No. And that's why I've been plateaued. I've been maintaining. I'm so stuck between using the word maintain or plateau because it's been like 2 years that I've been stuck between like 180 and 185 as my weight, pounds. And it feels like maintain. It also feels like plateau. It feels like maintain because I'm fine. Like I'm content. I'm actually pretty content in being 180 pounds. However, it feels like plateaus because I would still like to lose a little bit more weight at the same time, every once in a while. I'm currently trying to lose like 20 pounds for the year, but I need to reevaluate. So that's what I'm getting at here. You need to reevaluate. And then as far as like you won't often see posts from those who didn't work for or from people who regained the weight after initial drop. I just feel like that's poor influencing, like poor influencer behavior, because people want to see like that. Sure, that yes, that does happen, but people do want to see like the real part of weight loss. So I don't have a huge following on my Instagram. I only have like 1,000 followers, but um I've always been like open, about my weight loss like struggles, and like when I'm on, when I'm on plan or when I'm off plan or whatever. And I still post, and I try to be honest. I try to be honest. No, I am honest. I don't try. I just do. Okay, but Wegovy improves health though, right? From Novo Nordisk's initial study, they reported that there were many health benefits. What they actually found, HbA1c, a diabetes measure, the change was from 5.7 at the start of the study to 5.6 at the end, a 0.1% difference. This is not a significant change, and both those numbers are already in the normal range. Cholesterol, triglycerides, and inflammation markers went from normal range to normal range. Yeah, because I don't think that they are all. So the problem with that I have with like big pharma, and then like being in cahoots with like the American Diabetes Association, obviously they want, I have a tinfoil hat. They want to come off as like they want to help people with diabetes. I'm looking at what they are saying. Cholesterol, triglycerides, and inflammation markers went from normal to normal. Um, it took a while for like the American Diabetes Association to even start to suggest lower carb. They still are mentioning that it's totally fine to eat pasta if you have type 2 diabetes, which I guess sure, if you want a high blood sugar spike, but if you are on a weight loss journey and you have type 2 diabetes, I think that you should cut out all white carbs, because they're not doing you any favors unless you want to be on insulin, which no, you can avoid it if you cut out your carbohydrates. So cholesterol, triglycerides, and inflammation markers went from normal range to normal range. Those markers, I don't even think that those are being touted as. I don't think that GLP-1s say that they cure or help those markers. So I'm not sure why they're bringing those up. I guess they do kind of go hand in hand with like maybe your blood sugar. I know that when my HbA1c is higher, like when I was pre-diabetic, my triglycerides were high. Wait, doesn't Wegovy improve heart health in a big way? Novo has claimed that Wegovy has significant benefits for heart health. This is what they actually found. A study was released that misleads readers by claiming semaglutide Wegovy shows a 20% reduction in major adverse cardiovascular events. Thanks to the work of Reagan Chastain, who reviewed the study, it was discovered that in reality it was just a 1.5% reduction, and only a small group of mostly smaller fat cis white men, average age of 61, with pre-existing cardiovascular disease but without diabetes. 1.5% is not a significant reduction. Okay, yeah, I agree. I feel like a lot of pharmaceuticals will be like, this is good for XYZ, and it's like barely, So I agree. But isn't a small weight loss worth it? At 68 weeks, the dropout rate is 50%. By 221 weeks, it's 89%. Almost no one can or will stay on the drug. Novo says over a third quit. Over a third quit due to unmanageable side effects. We don't know how many stopped because it didn't work, weight plateaued, or weight increased. Side effects affected 95% of participants. 10% had serious ones, including pancreatitis, which can lead to pancreatic cancer, gallstones, severe gastrointestinal issues like acute kidney injury, and suicidal thoughts or behaviors. The data is not really showing many benefits. If that's what the data shows, that's what the data shows. But some of my followers, I do feel like it has helped a lot of people, and I kind of am on the boat of like even a small amount of weight loss is worth it, because excess body fat is harmful. It is harmful. If you don't need the body fat, it's not going to do you any good. As far as these side effects affected 95% of participants. 10% had serious ones, including pancreatitis, gallstones, severe gastrointestinal issues, acute kidney injury, and suicidal thoughts. I feel like that all of those side effects can affect you if you're like super morbidly obese. So it kind of does feel like, why are we taking this medication? However, it's if it helps, it helps. Honestly, again, my motto for the year is whatever it takes. If you can be on the shot and you can actually do it correctly and change your lifestyle, like go off. But what about food noise? Constant thoughts about food often signal restriction, moralizing food, schmishmortared beating, or a beating schmishmortar. Artificially reducing food noise can seem great, but if the drug stops working, can't be tolerated, or becomes unaffordable, it usually returns, often more intensely. Our bodies need enough food to survive. I'm starving and I'm in a 500-pound body. I need more food to survive. Like, no, you're 500 pounds. You can survive off your fat stores. And deprivation heightens interest in food. It's like holding your breath. Eventually you gasp, but we're pathologizing that gasp as bad when it's really a normal response or to restriction. Listen, I'm not telling you to restrict, but I did find peace when I started removing specific foods from my house, basically. At first it was really difficult. Like, clearly mommy loves bread. That's probably why I got fat. I used to eat bread for like lunch. I would go when I was in high school, I would cross the street from like the school to go to, I think it was Bash's or like a Fry's, a Fred Meyer, whatever your grocery store is, Piggly Wiggly, and get just like a little tiny loaf of bread and eat it like Aladdin. And I had diabetes. When I cut out bread completely and stopped, because mommy loves an artisan bread, I would just bring it home and just eat the entire thing to myself. Like, when I cut out bread completely, it took a while, but now I don't even crave it. Like, I'll smell bread and I'll be like, oh my God, that smells so good. I wish I could have some bread. But I don't even, I would be laying down in bread. I'd be laying down in bread. I'd be laying down in bed and thinking about bread. And now I don't think about bread. I think about like bacon and stuff. Honestly, you know what my food noise has turned into? Egg yolks. I crave egg yolks so much, and my cholesterol is great. Okay, consequences of pushing the narrative that GLP-1s are miracle drugs that cure fatness. Listen, the miracle drug that's going to cure fatness is just changing your lifestyle and not eating as much, as often, and as many carbs. That's it. That's the magical drug. Reevaluate. Write down what you eat. If you're going to count calories, write down your calories, figure out go to a calorie calculator and really start to take your shit seriously and measure your food. If you're not caring about calories, write down what you do. What's your movement? How many carbs are you eating? How often are you eating? And let's fix that, right? That's the magic drug. However, I know that some people have, they can't do that. Up here, they can't do that. So the GLP-1 is a good tool if you can handle it. Fuels anti-fatness and frames fatness. Okay, consequences of pushing the narrative that GLP-1s are a miracle drug that cure fatness. This fuels anti-fatness and frames fatness as a disease to fix. Wegovy is approved for kids as young as 12. That's wild. However, okay, no, that is wild. If your kid is so fat that you're considering giving them a shot to stop the fatness, you're the one feeding this kid. How did he get so fat? I don't hate obese kids. I hate parents who have allowed their kids to be obese. I know it's hard. If you've got an obese kid, I'm so sorry. I really am not like judging you. I'm judging America. I'm judging our food system. I'm judging highly palatable foods marketed towards children. Let me read that again. Wegovy is approved for kids as young as 12, risking a new, never before seen, before generation. Oh, okay. Risking a new, never before seen, before generation. No. Risking a new, never before seen, before, generation with serious food and body image issues. Creates false hope, ignoring high dropout rates, plateaus, and side effects. Here's the thing. I feel like a lot of people who do get on a GLP-1 medication, like, we've heard the stories. They are listening to the stories. They're listening to the horror stories. They know there is a high dropout rate, right? If you're on a GLP-1, you kind of went in knowing that it was kind of new, right? As far as at least for weight loss and diabetes, it just came out like 4 years ago in 2021, right? Approved by the FDA. You knew that it was sort of new. We've all heard the horror stories, and you know that it can make you sick. And if you're on it, you've probably been sick before on it, right? We know the risks. So I don't think that it's ignoring high dropout rates. Well, yeah, I think people who take it are ignoring those high dropout rates and they're like, I'm not going to do that, right? Plateaus and side effects. Shames those who regain weight, which is very common. I don't, because in my head, I'm like, we all knew that was going to happen, right? If you get off the, if you're on this GLP-1 and you're successful and you get down to like a low weight, but you haven't changed your diet, you haven't changed your lifestyle, and you still eat as often and as much as you did when you were getting fat, excuse you. I know you can't with the GLP-1, but if you don't change that mindset, you are going to regain the weight. I'm not, it doesn't shock me. And I don't shame them because we knew. Why would you shame somebody for something that we knew that was going to happen? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Distracts the real issue, systemic anti-fat bias. Anti-fat bias will not be fixed by making some fat people temporarily smaller. Benefits drug companies who are making record profits, not public health. I agree. I agree with that because I have a huge problem with big pharma. And I think that, gosh, I feel like everybody's pockets are hands, and I feel like everybody's hands are in everybody's pockets, and I feel like everybody, it's like a conspiracy to like make people fat and sick so that they have forever patients, forever customers. Benefits these drug companies don't give a shit about you. They want money. They want your money. They want you to get fat and stay with us. That's why they made a medication that if you get off of it, you will get fat again. You don't think that they could have made a medication that could you at in 2025 with all this technology we've got, you don't think that they really could figure something out for fatness? Here's the thing. I need to stop saying that. What what really is the problem is not the dietary recommendations. It's not calories. It's not, well, yes, it's the amount of food that you're eating. It's it's also our food system, like the food that we are receiving. I'm talking about Americans. I know that it's a lot better in like the UK and Europe and stuff like that. But the Americans, we receive slop. It's slop. It's it's loaded with bullshit and chemicals, and it's been modified so that it's highly palatable so that you are addicted to it and you eat tons and tons and tons of it. We don't even use real sugar anymore. We've over processed and over created corn so that we can make sugar cheap, like make sweetener cheaper. It's it's not it is willpower, but it's also like we have so much going. Oh, excuse you. God bless you. We have so much going against us as Americans that it is difficult to like not naturally be heavier in this country because of all of the highly inflammatory foods and all the sugar in our food. It's ridiculous. A disclaimer: many people choose to partake in weight loss in order to survive this anti-fat world we live in. Some fat folks, okay, no, that's not why I'm not trying to surf fat. I'm not trying to surf fat. I'm not trying to survive an anti-fat world. I am trying to survive, like, I'm just trying to survive. I don't want diabetes. Um I don't want cancer. If you guys don't know this, I had a cancer scare last a couple years ago, and I had the precursor to cancer in my uterus, and I had to get all that shit scraped out. But I almost got uterine cancer from being extremely obese and sedentary, and I just let things go because I thought that I was at a set point. I thought that I was at my default, which was being obese. Some fat folks are forced to engage in transactional weight loss as healthcare or other rudimentary access is held hostage. So I think that's a claim that you won't receive any medical help unless you lose weight. The problem is a society that says that fat people are less worthy and need to become thin people in order to gain access or basic safety. The real issue isn't people trying to survive that dynamic. However, it's important to note that people who pursue intentional weight loss can cause a lot of harm if they invest in anti-fat narratives and can become agents of oppression against others. Again, I will say it over and over again. If you are following somebody who's decided that they want to lose weight and that does not like fly with you, just unfollow and unfriend. So if you feel unsafe with or have feelings of anger towards those who intentionally attempt weight loss, that is absolutely understandable. It is understandable. Unfollow. Sources. Okay, great. Please note all data referenced in this post is about semaglutide taken in higher doses for weight loss in non-diabetics. Ozempic, the diabetes drug, can be very effective in treating diabetes. Okay. I love her. I love their color palette. I think they create a lot of cute, like wordy infographics. All right. So thoughts. What are your thoughts about weight loss surgery and the weight loss drug? Are they tools of oppression? Are they effective? I kind of feel in my head, and I know that surgery is more of a last resort and more expensive, but is it? I in my opinion, I feel like the surgery is probably better than the shot as far as for those who suffer with like fringe beating recorders. Um you sort of are forced with like physical force to not overeat and like to lose the weight, whereas the shot, you are at home giving yourself the shot. If you get off the shot, most likely you will gain the weight if you haven't changed any lifestyle change it if you haven't made any lifestyle changes. The shot, however, works. It does work for some people. I think if we were picking teams, if we were picking soccer teams or something like that, I would be team surgery. But I think I need to see less horror stories and more success stories. And I know a lot of you watching have had a ton of success with the GLP-1s, and I'm glad. Obviously, I want to see people work towards getting healthy, but I also want to see people. I would like to see somebody on a GLP-1 journey. Like if you know any creators on Instagram, send them my way. I want to see GLP-1 Instagram creators, and I want to see what they eat and how often they eat. And what they ate before. Like I want to see people who've made the changes. I want to also know, maybe I need to do a deeper dive on GLP-1 medications and kind of like cement my position on them, because I'm still on the fence as far as like I would never, even if I could. I can't because I have thyroid problems and it can cause like thyroid cancer, which you would think that with the studies about the cancer and the shot that I would automatically be like against this drug. I'm more against than for. However, I am still team whatever it takes to lose the weight, because even being in a super morbidly obese body, that increases your risk for cancer as well. I'm one of the people who have achieved that risk, right? Yeah, let me know in the comments what team are you flying for? If we're talking, well, clearly the best option in my opinion is going to be losing the weight naturally. However, I know that we live in a country, I do, America, that all odds are against us. It's very difficult to lose weight naturally. I mean, for some. A lot of people are suffering from food addiction because our food is so manufactured to be addictive. As far as extreme weight loss necessities, I feel like if you're over 500 pounds, yeah, you need to be on a GLP-1 or get some weight loss surgery, because you are in danger, girl.
You in danger, girl.
It's probably going to be a shorter episode. I feel like it is. Yeah, it seems shorter. I'm going to do the edits really quick and try to upload before I have to go to work today so that y'all have a video to listen to. If you let me know in the comments below, what team are you flying for? If you've made it this far and you want to just leave me an emoji, leave me your favorite non-food, non-face, non-animal emoji. There, you'll have to do some searching for that. All right, goodbye.
Qui est partout car tu es dans mon cœur. Tu es partout car tu es mon bonheur. Toutes les choses qui sont en dessous de moi. Même la vie n'a le poison que toi.
Hold on. Puppy dog. Puppy. Stop it. Ducky, you're about to get kicked out. Get out. Out. Out, please. Out. Sorry. I know, I tried, but you want to fuck around. Give me a kush. This is my baby.